Hello, everyone. How's it going? So last tag of the day, thanks for staying here. I promise I will try to make it as entertaining as possible. I'm here today to show you some 3D stuff, so fancy 3D stuff, okay? I want first to start with a question. So how many of you think that this scene right here is entirely done by using Vue components? Raise your hand if you think that it's done with Vue. Using Vue components. Okay, more than I expected. No, it's actually React, okay? It's done with... No, don't worry. It's a joke. It's actually done with Vue. And hopefully today I'm going to show you how you can build it with Vue, okay? So let's go to this slide right here. And yeah, I choose a really long title that I regret, okay? So it's the subtle art of 3D scrolly-telling and product configuration with TresJS. But it was too long. So I decided to cut it down and say how to implement cool stuff in 3D with Vue without trying. Yay! Okay? So hi, everyone. My name is Alvaro. I'm a DevRel at Storyblock. I'm also a content creator. I create content about Nox, Vue, Vite, Astro in Alvaro Dev Labs. I also have a portfolio I haven't updated like bazillion years, so forget about that. And you can always say hi in Alvaro Sabo in all my networks. I'm also the author of TresJS, which is the library that I'm going to show you today. So I want you all to think about a website that completely blows your mind. For me, it was this one. So this is the portfolio of Bruno Simon. Bruno Simon is a really expert on 3JS, okay? And I love it because you drive through his portfolio. You drive through his projects. You enter his story life. You learn that he's from France. He also has a dog. So you are already immersed in the experience of his portfolio. He's telling a story, but you're immersed in it. So today we're going to do something similar. We're going to create something called Scrolly-telling. Scrolly-telling is a way of creating a page that you scroll and then you tell your story. Okay, fair enough. But we are also going to add 3D to it. So why is this so cool? Because first, it has the user interaction, and it creates a lot of visual impact. Like people actually surprised to see like visual 3D going on, changing the screen and so on. It's great for customization of brandings and storytelling. And also, believe it or not, it's really easy to integrate with for customers to headless CMS solutions. So here I have two examples, but I'm going to show you the first one. The first one is from Dog Studio. They are the creators of Tomorrowland website. And what I love is that they have this dog in 3D in the back, and then you change the different projects, and the dog changes shapes, color, materials. And at the end, when they are showing a little bit about them, it turns around. Okay? This is a basic example of what the Scrolly-telling is. Next, we have another use case of 3D in real world. It's called Web Product Configurator. The idea is to elevate the experience of your customers. Let's say you have an e-commerce and you have some products inside, that they can customize the product that they are going to order. So this provides a real-time 3D visualization of the product. You can rotate it, see it from all the shapes, check how it looks. Even there are some things that you can check it on you, how it looks in you. You can customize it, change the different materials. Maybe it's a shirt that has several, like linen or cotton or different shapes, and also gives an interactive user experience for the user. So I love this example by Nike Back You. So when you're ordering some shoes, you can go to the customizer, and this opens like a 3D builder where you can change the color of different parts of the shoes, and then you can order, and the shoes that you're going to receive in your house are exactly the ones that you customize. So you can already see how powerful this can be for brands to customize the journey of their clients into the final product. Cool. How do we achieve this? So I want you all to raise your hand. Who has built something with 3D on the web? I don't see anything. OK, more than I expected. Awesome. Perfect. So probably you are familiar with TresJS, because TresJS is sort of saver in WebGL on the web. The browser has some APIs from WebGL, and then TresJS make it easy to use. Okay? It's a JavaScript library that provides you everything that you need. Okay? Then another question: how do we use Tree with Vue? So how many of you have used TresJS with Vue? Okay, less. Because until now, most of the 3D projects are done with React Fiber and React, and as well like vanilla 3JS, okay? So that's why we created TresJS. TresJS is a Vue custom render. It's based on the custom render API, the same that Vue uses. But instead of rendering on the DOM, we're rendering on the scene graph. The idea is that you can create a scenes declaratively, like you were creating the UI that you use in Vue, okay? So you can create 3D experiences the same way, with a familiar framework that we all love. Tres comes from tree, so it's the Spanish word for tree, and it's pronounced tres. It's reference to the library, and it's because I'm Latin America, I come from Venezuela, so the French word was already taken, so I decided to call it tres. But why Tres? So first, we have the WebGL API, okay? This WebGL API is really, really low level, okay? To give you an idea, this part right here is all the code that you will need. So here we have some shaders that are WebGL, and then you have the script in JavaScript with the GL, that is the API. And all of this is just to create a cube. Only to create a cube. Here, you are defining where the vertices of that cube are going to be. So this takes all the, like, your willing of life when you try to do 3D, okay? Horrible. This is the result of that code. It's just a cube that is rotating, nothing more. Okay, so imagine trying to do the shoe with this. Then it comes 3JS. Then things start getting better, okay? 3JS is a great abstraction, but there is a problem, and this is completely imperative. And it's prone to long, long files. It's not the same as creating just one file like this, where you create the scene, and then, yes, you add a color here for the background, and then you create the canvas, a lot of properties that you had to add, then you create the camera, a window, all of this just to show a cube. Okay? But this is already great. Like, this is awesome. We can deal with it. The problem is when it gets big and you need to organize your code with different files. So you can end up with a main TS that is longer than your life expectations, or you can have it separated and more easy to use. Spaghetti code. So jokes aside, this is how it looks in Tres. So you can see it's really familiar. It's a script setup with TypeScript. You import the Tres canvas. The Tres canvas is the component or the wrapper where your scene is going to live. And then everything is going to be inside. You want to create a camera, Tres perspective camera. You want to create a box, you create a mesh with a box geometry and a normal material. This is the same code that you saw before, but in Vue. So that's the idea. TresJS, what it wants is make more accessible for people to start in 3D. And I don't know where I left the spaghetti. Forget about that. Okay, so I'm going to resume this part because it's not really important. Like, the idea of Tres is to keep up to date with latest 3JS. That is lightweight, that is verbose and easy to use. It's familiar like in Vue. That is DX focused, because a problem that we have in 3D is that the DX is horrible. It's really difficult to debug. TypeScript, we had to say that all the ecosystem is powered by Bit, so it makes it really fast to create the scenes. And it's an ecosystem. So it's for the Vue community to create packages for physics or for VR, for example. So how you can get started, you can use your package manager or choice and just use PNPM, add TresJS core, and as a pure dependency, you can install Tree. If you want to use TypeScript, you can also install the types. Or you can use the playground. So we created a playground. Here's the preview. But I'm going to do something that I'm going to regret. OK, I'm going to live code. OK, let's get with it. So the idea will be to show you how easy it is to use TresJS here. So I'm going to remove all of this. OK, maybe put this a little bit here so you can see more code. That's fine. OK, so the idea of Tres is that you can take any instance of TresJS and prefix it with Tres, and that's a component. OK? So we're going to do that with something that is called grid helper. I don't know if it's visible. You see some squares, right, like a grid. OK, so as easy as that, I added it to the scene. So I don't have to worry about how it's been added, how it's been rendered. It's all on us. OK? So let's create something more fun. Let's create a box. OK? So the way of creating a box is that you're going to create a mesh. OK? Let's not forget to close it. I did it wrong so many times. OK. And to the Tres mesh, we're going to pass two components via slots. We're going to pass the Tres box geometry. And you can already see that something has been drawn. We draw a cube in the center, but it's completely white. OK? So let's add a material. So I like to use the Tres mesh normal material, because it shows you a different color for each one of the faces. So it's great for showcasing. OK? So as easy as that, we just created a cube. So the same that we did with bazillion lines of code is here. OK? But it doesn't stop there. We can use more stuff from the Vue ecosystem. We can use props, right? So you can configure, when you create 3GS instances, you have some parameters that you can pass. To the box geometry, you can pass the width, the height, and the depth of the box. So we have a property, or a prop, that is called arcs. Okay? And all you need to do is pass an array. And that array is going to be the sizes that you want. So let's say in the x-axis, we want double the size, then 0.5. I have an error here, of course. Nice. So now it's double the size on the width, thinner on the height, and let's say 3 on here. So as I said that, we changed the properties of the geometry itself. Think of the geometry like the HTML of the 3D, like how it's structured, and then the material is the CSS. It's all the visual properties like the color, the roughness, how reflected it is. So that's the best analogy that I can give you. Okay? Another thing that we can do is take the mesh and change the position of it on the scene. So I can pass a property called position, and in a similar fashion, I'm going to pass an array and say, OK, I want to keep it in the center, but elevate it 2 units on the y-axis. So the y-axis is this one right here. And then we change it, the position of it, right? As easy as that. This is OK, but it's quite boring, right? Let's animate it. So how can we animate this? I don't know if you're familiar with game loops. Like whenever you're creating a game, you have something that is rendering every frame per second, so you can do the animations and stuff. It works the same in 3GS. Okay? You have a loop that is constantly running with the request animation frame. And we have a composable inside of the core that you use for that. So it's called useRenderLoop. So I'm going to go a little bit here and say, OK, const. I'm going to deconstruct. It has a method called onLoop. And it's going to be equal to useRenderLoop, like this. And then we can pass a callback that is going to be triggered every time the browser requests it. OK? So think of it like, depending on the device, it's going to be 120 frames per second. Some devices are 60 frames per second. So it depends on the device. So how we can animate this? It will be tempting to create a reactive property called position with a ref or a reactive here, and then pass it to the position here. The problem is that reactivity is not meant to be done so many times so quickly. So instead of using it inside of the on loop, which is going to trigger so many times, it's based on proxies. So it's not the same as objects. Okay? What we're going to do is use another feature of Vue, which is called the template refs. So we're going to use a box ref right here, like this. And then inside of it, I have to import it. I always forgot. So import Vue. Import Vue. Nice, Alvaro. Import ref from Vue. OK, now it is. So we're going to ask if there is no box ref, we don't do anything. That's fair. Right? Return. And if it does, we are going to change it. So we're going to do box ref the value to access the reference of the instance. And then we're going to do rotation. And let's rotate on the y-axis. No, x-axis, better. OK. We need to choose a really small number because this is done so fast and so many times. And I have an error. Of course I do. Thank you very much. You're a savior. So here I had to pass the ref. So box ref. And hopefully, let's cross fingers. Yeah, we made it. Nice. Thank you. I love you. OK, cool. So now that I did the impossible thing, I'm going to. I have the slides just in case I've the live coding. OK. This is what we're actually going to build today in 8 minutes. So I'm going to go fast. This is a product configurator, OK? So basically, you are going to be able to configure your rocket here with different colors, OK? Let's do some Vue.js Amsterdam colors kind of thing, OK? Like this or like this. Yeah, like this and this. OK, cool. And then we are going to start exploring, and we're going to have this part that is the Scrolly-telling. And this is all coming from the headless CMS solution. And then when we scroll, we're going to see this rotating, and then we're going to see the actual rocket that we configure. So it's part of the story that we're telling. So she's jumping on her rocket. She went suddenly, stop it in a place where all the planets communicate, yada, 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 yada. And I don't know if you noticed something there. There is like a Vue.js thing, right? Who is it? Nice. OK, that's exactly it. So let me go to the next slide, if this allows me. Yeah. So what we're going to do now in the stage is that we are going to raffle it. I have it here. We printed a 3D version of this model. So I want everyone to take just a couple of minutes to enter the raffle. OK? There is also a lower price for Egghead courses. But this one is cooler, OK? So at the end of this talk, we are going to give it to the winner, OK? A real life printed by my colleague, Alba. So let's give it a little bit. OK, good? I'll give you some seconds more. Cool. So let's talk about the tech stack. How do we show code this, right? What I'm using is Nux, then I'm using Tres, and then I'm using a Storyblok. So who knows how should we call this new stack? Say it again? Nuts. OK, so thanks to Posva, Eduardo. We had that conversation on Twitter the other day, and he came with the amazing name of Nutstack. So I really hope nobody's allergic to it, but it's officially the new name of this stack. Every time you use Tres and Nux and Storyblok, it's called the Nutstack. Amazing. So how do we use it with Storyblok? We have an SDK that allows you to install a really quick Storyblok, and also you provide the access token, and then you're ready to go. Then installing Tres, we also have a Nux module. Thanks to Daniel Rowe, he helped me out. Well, he basically did it in live streaming, so that level. I just was watching how he did it. And then you can install it with address, docs, and tree. Okay, you add it to the modules. Here is a little bit how I did it in Storyblock. So I created some pages for the product customization and the exploring. And then this is the equivalent on the Nox application. So first part, the product customization page. So the rough idea was to create something that had a Tres canvas on the side and then a UI that allowed the content editor to add colors. And those colors, the end user are going to choose them to customize the rocket, and they are going to be saved in the local storage for further use. So this is a little bit how it looks in the Storyblock. But there is a big problem here, and that we have a bazillion field types for everything, text, rich text, multi-option, but there was nothing that I could use for materials, like 3D materials. So I create one. The good thing about the Storyblock is that they have a CLI that allows you to create plugins that you can customize and make your own view applications instead of the visual editor. And that was exactly what I did. I created with TresJS inside for the visualization with Tres. And then I just plug in it and it works. So I apologize for this talk is too much content, so I couldn't explain you how I did it. If you're willing to know, here is the QR for the YouTube. We're going to release video tutorials about this this year, so stay tuned. Okay? Then the exploring page, or the Scrolly-telling. The idea was to have a Tres canvas in the background. So how many of you have created a parallax effect before? OK, way more than I expected, actually. So now imagine it added with 3D, OK? So basically, we're going to add the 3D scene on the back, and then we're going to have some view components for, call it scroll controls. That are going to give us the progress in a ref of how many the user has scrolled, and then modify the scene accordingly. So this is the Storyblock part. This is how I'm rendering each one of the sections. So the idea is to have a section for each part. And then I'm using a rich text library that I did, a Storyblock rich text view renderer, to render all the content inside. Then with the SDKs, we are fetching all the data from Storyblock. And then here is where we are mixing the Tres canvas that has a property called window size. So it's going to take the whole window. And the Storyblock component is a great component that just render whatever you throw on it. So if you have components inside that are meant to be rendered, it's going to render for you. Then we have another package in the ecosystem. It's called Cientos package, and it's just basically like the view use of TresJS. TresJS has a core, and we have another package called Cientos with all the abstractions and composable that enhance the developer experience and give you more options. So one of them is the scroll controls. So you pass a ref that has the progress with B model, and then that gets updated when you are scrolling, and then you can modify the model. So how you add the model, we also have a composable from Cientos that is called use GLTF, where you pass here the path, okay? And you use async await, so you need to wrap it with suspense. And you use a primitive to pass the model inside. I know, it's a lot of information. Try it out if you want later, we come, okay? But the cool part here is animating it. So the idea is, and I'm going to refresh for a moment. So the idea is to use that progress bar to get the reference the same way that we did in the playground. So we are taking the reference for the moon. And when we are scrolling here, we're going to start rotating the moon. So we're using simple linear interpolation function, aka lerp, to achieve this. Okay? So as easy as this, I know it looks really like speedy, but it's no more than this. This is the bare basic on how you can achieve it. So let's jump here. And congratulations, you made it. You created a Scrolly-telling with 3D on view. Yeah. Come on. You can be proud of yourself. Okay, last but not least, then we find out that TresJS is great for creating 3D experience in Vue. We can also use it for storytelling and product customization. Super easy to integrate with headless CMS solutions, and you can use the TresNux module for it. Here I have some resources, so feel free to also scan this. Sorry about the amount of QRs, but it was easy for you to have a QR with all the links that you need. It's also the link for the Discord channel if you want to join the community and ask if you're implementing Tres, how you can do it. Okay? Give you 1 second more. And I want to thank, oh, there is an error, no. Well, this part shows all the contributors of Tres. So right now we have only 1 contributor, okay? But some of them are here in the audience, so thank you very much. It wouldn't be possible without you. And also thanks to our sponsors from TresJS and my personal sponsors for supporting us with the open source work, okay? Thank you very much.